Elizabeth of Earl Crochet, and I'm just going to chat about what I've been up to this past, normally it'd be this past month, this time it'd be this past 2 months, just because there wasn't that much to talk about a month ago. Today I have a little bit more to talk about. I'm really excited. Today is the 1st of September. It's the beginning of spring here in Australia. It's also the beginning of Hohi Locatelli's fall knit along, which is exciting. The project I'm going to be working on will be slightly more spring orientated, just because we're starting spring here. I finished a couple of projects recently, and so it just feels like a good time to start new things, which is excellent. And also we have a cat here. He loves me. He sleeps in the bed next to me. Don't drink my coffee. It's not for cats. Anyway, so I have 2 finished projects today. I think this is all I finished in the past 2 months. I haven't written anything down this time, so if I miss something, that's why. Hi, buddy. So, I finished a little while ago. This is a sock head / hat that I made for my husband, Matt, and it is made out of trichromat yarns in the colour Sacrifice. This is yarn that we bought when we went to Canberra for a celebration of wool. As you can see, it's kind of got cat hair all over it, I guess, as you'd expect. But yeah, it's really good. He wears this all the time at the moment because he's lost a bit of weight recently, so he's feeling the cold a bit more than normal, than he's used to. So, I mean, I think it looks pretty cool on me as well. Kind of matches my lip colour. I'm wearing a touch of makeup, just for something fun and different. So there we go. This is the sock head / hat. I've made one before about 6 months ago, at the end of last year. A bit more than 6 months now. And that one was also really nice. It was in kind of mustardy colours. And so I got Matt to try that one on and see how he felt about it. And then I made him this one, because he wears a lot of reds and blues. So I made him a red one. He wanted me to buy enough yarn to make 2. I was like, maybe we'll start with 1 and see how we go. Maybe for next winter I'll make him a second one in blue. Or grey. He also wears grey. He has all these shirts and you can like almost do a gradient of like blues and reds and greys, which sounds weird, but anyway. Yes, so yeah, he's really happy with that. I'm really happy with that. He wears it all the time. I did have to ask him when he went out this morning. I was like, oh, can you leave your beanie here so I can talk about it in the video? He'll be alright. It's, well, actually, our Google Home said it was 10 degrees about an hour ago. 10 degrees Celsius, that is. So, oh look, there's a cat. 10 degrees Celsius about an hour ago, but it's meant to get up a high of 21 degrees, I believe. I'm a little bit distracted, as you can tell. Anyway, that's a fun view. A little bit of entertainment for you while I chat about yarn and knitting, and we have a tiny little touch of crochet today. So that's exciting. Adeline, don't drink my coffee, buddy. Anyway, and last night, so I'm actually filming this in the morning, but it's not going to go up until this afternoon, and I'll tell you why. Because last night I finished my second So Faded sweater. I'm wearing my first one here. So I've shown this off in my previous video 2 months ago. And I'll just show you the cat. Adeline. Hey gorgeous. Please don't knock over my coffee. Okay, drinking coffee. Oh, he's looking at this thing from the camera, so that's not ideal. They like dangly things. This morning I was blow drying my hair, and like, he was freaked out by the sound of the blow dryer because I was, doing this. Then the cable is wiggling all over the place. He was fascinated by it, so I had to like hold the cord and blow dry my hair. Yes. I'm gonna put this on the other coffee table. Otherwise the cat would step on it at the moment. Anyway, my first so faded, which I showed 2 months ago. I've put all the yarn weights of what I've used up on Ravelry, although I'm not certain they are correct for various reasons. Yeah, now he's just sitting where my coffee was sitting. I'll be right back. Okay, now I can tell you what size I made. So this first one, oh, I think I stood up a bit quick just then. This first one was the 38-inch bust, or the 96.5-inch bust, and it's recommended to be worn with either anywhere from -5 centimeters of ease to +5 centimeters of ease. So that means, like, from my understanding, that means you measure your bust and then you can have either plus or -5 of that is the recommended. I didn't want to go minus. So minus, you would have like this, you know, a brim of a beanie. So that would be a little bit smaller than Matt's head, just to hold it on so it stretches a bit and holds on his head. Or like maybe socks might be about 0. Whereas, yeah, like if you want a bit of room around your bust, obviously that's a positive ease. Just in case you don't know, I'm sure many of you already are aware of a lot of these things, but chatting about them for those who aren't aware, because I don't like to assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about all the time. Anyway, so this one is the 38-inch bust, and I like it. I think I might have made a mistake and missed some things around here, because it is stretching kind of funny there, but it still fits and it's comfy and I love it. Fingering weight knitted jumpers, it's just so comfy. I will probably be making so many more fingering weight knitted jumpers, which is crazy, because yeah, a year ago I was like, no, even 9 months ago, I was like, no, I could never knit in fingering weight because it would take forever, because knitting is so much slower than crochet. And yeah, it kind of is, but you know, then I knitted some socks. I started learning to knit socks, and then I was knitting other things, and then I just got really excited about all the ideas of knitting different jumpers, or sweaters as you might call them, pullovers, whatever, because there's just so many beautiful designs and it's amazing. Anyway, yeah, and this happened. I've knitted 2 in the last 4 or 5 months, and it took me, according to Ravelry at least, took me about 2 months each. So this one was the 38-inch bust. I'm not good at staying on topic today, but anyway. And then I made this one, which is the 42-inch bust. And I'm going to include some photos and show you guys just the difference it makes. And so I can't remember exactly how much positive ease, I don't know why I did this. I don't know how much positive ease that would be, because I'm not going to measure my bust right now, but I think it was maybe 34 to 36. So this might be 2 inches of positive ease, which looks about right. I'm not sure, which is a recommended, so up to +2 inches or 5 centimeters. But then this one, I've put it on, and this is the 42-inch bust. And I really, really like it. It suits, it fits really well. So this one isn't for me, although I'm super tempted to keep it. I mean, it's not gonna happen because, so I tell you, it's for my mum, and we're seeing her today for lunch because it's Father's Day in Australia. Yeah, so Father's Day. So we do have a present for my dad, but it also has a present for my mum because it was her birthday a few weeks ago. So this is a bit late, but I think that's fine. It's a knitted jumper in fingering weight yarn. I really hope she likes it, and if she does, it'll all be worth it. So I messaged her a couple of months ago. I cast this on, I started this according to Ravelry on like the 26th of June. So it took me pretty much 2 months, but I was looking back at my Instagram photos, and back at the beginning of August, I was still like, oh, maybe I'd just gotten here. I'd separated for the sleeves at the beginning of August. So honestly, from here to here, and both sleeves, I did in August, which is crazy, like. But yes, I have been doing a lot of knitting on this and not much else. The reason I didn't get, a few reasons I didn't get more done in July was because I was knitting on this, and because I started a test crochet project. I'll get to that later. Oh man, I'm so distracted. Talking more about this one, which is beautiful. This is in Ren and Ollie yarn, which is the same as this one, just different colors. I picked them up from Skein Sisters back when I went up for the workshop with Deanne of Everyday Designs. She did a brioche workshop, and a whole bunch of us went up, and it was excellent. We all had lunch together, and yeah, it was really lovely to meet so many people. Anyway, so it's all Ren and Ollie, which I love. Ren and Ollie yarn. I've got a stash of yarn over here, which I think I showed you before, and some of it's more Ren and Ollie. Yeah. So this first colour is called Antique Rose. I love it. It's just perfect. I have a, when I was in Bathurst a little while ago, I picked up a tin and it says tea on it, and the lid is this same shade of pink. It's really cute. I'll share a photo with you guys. Okay, so this one's Antique Rose, and then this one here is, what's it called? Flora. And so it's kind of like a purple and grey mix. And then we have a light grey, and that one's called Wild Mushroom, and then a little bit of a darker grey, which is called Smokehouse. And I think I'm really happy with how that all worked out. I was having second thoughts, especially changing from the Antique Rose to the Flora, but I striped them for quite a long time. So the pattern recommends just striping them for 10 rows, so 5 rows of each. I've talked when I did this one about how I did it a bit differently. So you can see here, I'd stripe 1 row of the new colour, 2 rows of the first colour, 1 row of the second, 2 of the first, and then just a bit of alternating, and then down here I got to 1 row of the first, 2 rows of the second, 1 row of the first, just to kind of make it a bit more of a gradient rather than just solid colour, stripes, solid colour. Obviously my second colour is not as much of a solid colour, so that works really well to blend, especially in this section with the Flora and the Wild Mushroom. Yes, so I really do like that method of doing it. It does mean you get a bunch more ends, so I don't do it on the sleeves just because it's too fiddly, so I just alternate rows on the sleeves. You can see it up here, but that was because that was before I split for the sleeves, so I was basically still working all the way around for the whole body. But yeah, I'll just alternate rows for the sleeves, and especially because I chose very similar, like it works all right, you can't really tell. And so I'm very happy with that. I did have a whole bunch of ends, partly because of the way I was striping them, and partly because Adolin kept deciding to chew my yarn between the project and the ball, which, at least he wasn't chewing the project, because that would be really annoying, undoing all my hard work. He would just chew that yarn that sits between, and then it would break, and then I have to do a new yarn, and it would make 2 more ends for me to sew in. So what I did last night on my Instagram stories, I took a photo and put a timestamp on it of when I was about to start sewing in the ends, and that was like 8:01 p.m. And then when I finished sewing in all the ends and trimming them off, I took another one, and with the timestamp, it was 9:39. So yeah, it took me over an hour and a half to sew in all the ends. And like, that was with minimal distractions. I probably picked up my phone once or twice just for a moment. I didn't, get up to the toilet or anything, which sounds crazy for an hour and a half. No, maybe not. Anyway, I'm super happy with this. What I'm thinking, no, I'll come back to that later. Wow, all over the place today. So, one other project I have been working on, when I recorded my last video about 2 months ago at the beginning of July, I recorded that and put that up, and then Deanne of Everyday Designs, who I've met a few times, she also uploaded a video at a similar time, and she was releasing her Bantam shawl, or Bantam wrap, which you might have seen on Instagram, because obviously it's been out for a little while now, and she just, and I said how much I loved it, and so she asked me to do a little test crochet of it, and all she really wanted was like, about how much yarn you might use for a colour. So it's like it repeats this section, and so next I would join up, it goes this way. Up here I would join the next colour, and so it's like, I don't know if that's my next one or not, I'll have to work it out, I can't remember. But I've got purples and blues, and so the way you can do it is using a mini skein set. And so you can have every stripe being a different color, or you can, you know, just do 2 colors and alternate them, or you could do what I'm doing and do white and then a color, white, a color, white, a color. And so the white one I'm using, I had heaps of this hanging out my stash, which I really like. This yarn is Peyton's Baby Dreamtime Merino Foreplay. It's not cheap yarn, it's only 50 grams balls, and it's normally like 10 bucks a ball, which is obviously cheaper than hand-dyed yarn, but a lot more expensive than other things. It is 100% merino wool, Australian fine merino wool, so I really like it. I've used it for a few things, mostly unfinished projects, which is why I have so much in this color, because I've got 2 different projects I started in the same color, as you do. But yeah, so this is the start of the bantam wrap, and so there's 3 different widths you can make depending on how much yarn you want. How much yarn you have and how wide you want it, whether you want more of a scarf or a wrap or like something larger. I think there's 3. Yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm thinking I will get more of this done this coming month. That's the plan, because obviously I did the test to see how much of this purple I used, because that was the main thing Deanne wanted, and then I put it aside while I focused on this and this, which are both gift knits, so they had to be done. So yeah, hopefully I'll get back into this one this month. That's the plan, at least, but there are lots of plans, so wish me luck. Okay, I think I can put that down now. And I want to show you something, not that I've been working on, but Matt has decided that he wants to get into doing some leatherwork stuff. And so he started off just by buying some belt blanks, so they're just strips of leather that high quality, and they're kind of ready to make belts out of. They're undyed and they don't have any holes punched or anything, and so Matt has to cut them to length and punch the holes and dye them, and then he puts like a Resolute coating on it just to stop the dye from running all over the place. I think there's probably a few other steps in there that I'm missing, but this is what Matt's been doing. So he's practicing doing some leather work on belts so that he can maybe do some more complicated stuff later on in the year. And so for Father's Day, he made my dad a belt, and so we'll be giving him this to him at lunch. And so this is the color of the undyed leather. And then there's these holes that Matt's punched, and he's even made, like, so he's bought these buckles online and the belt blank, and he's even made like this. This is made out of leather that he wrapped around like 2 other pieces of leather to have it this size. So like, so it fits this leather and that leather in it. And so it's even, look, this is amazing. And he's stitched this up, so he has to, you know, pre-punch all the holes. And then it's a stitching saddle, so it holds the leather in place, and he has to stitch that up. I think he was annoying some of our neighbors the other day, because he decided, you know, after 8 p.m. was a good time to be punching some of these holes. Anyway, we're not doing that again, because we live in an apartment, so not a deal. Yeah, look at that, so shiny. So yeah, that's decent quality leather that he's bought. And some little belt buckles. So yeah, it's pretty cool, don't you reckon? Isn't he talented? And he's just learnt all this off YouTube, honestly. Ooh, it's still a bit stiff because it's fresh. Obviously as it gets more use, he'll get less stiff, and so there we go. It's a belt. And yeah, so he just learned all this off YouTube, looking up how other people do their leather work, what things he needed to buy. He bought a whole bunch of tools online. He did get some from my mum, because she used to do like decorative leather work, so not stuff like this, but she would like punch designs into there, which was fancy. So she had a whole bunch of tools that Matt was able to borrow or take, or like if she wants them back, we'll give them back, but she hasn't used them in a long time, so she probably won't need them back, but we'll hold on to them. And yeah, that's what Matt's been up to, which has been great. He's also been playing lots of video games. We bought a Nintendo Switch recently, which we've been enjoying, so I've been spending quite a bit of time on that, of course, which has been great. Yeah, Anyway, so that's all finished objects, works in progress, all done. I do have like other things hanging around. Like I have this this wrap, this knitted wrap that I started quite a while ago using my Circus Tonic handmade advent calendar. Oh, looking at it, I just remember how much I love it. I did go to knit another row on this the other day, which is why it's in this project bag. Then I couldn't remember which row I was doing the increase and decrease on. So, because it's slanted, much like the bantam wrap. So one end is an increase and one end is a decrease, but I have to work out which row I'm doing them on. And then I'll get back to it. This is a long-term project that I'm really enjoying, but yeah, definitely thinking it's a long-term thing. Not something I'm in a hurry to finish, just something I can enjoy making, enjoy the yarns. It's beautiful. So yeah, it's currently, it's getting fairly long. It's gonna be really long by the time I'm done. But yeah, I'll have that aside whenever I feel like I need something to knit on. It's fairly straightforward apart from that increase and decrease that I need to work out. Every row is knit row, so it's just a garter stitch shawl. Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, that's sort of a work in progress, long-term work in progress. Anyway, so today is the start of the Joji Locatelli Fall Cowl, the Fall Knit Along. And so she recently released a shawl pattern, and it's called Storm, the Storm shawl. And hers is in this kind of blue with grey tones, which is gorgeous and perfect for like fall going into winter. But I've decided, because we're more in, it's starting to be spring, it'll be summer, and also like sometimes you go to a wedding and it's a bit cool and you've got a nice dress on and you don't want to wear a coat because it'll cover things up. And I do have a couple of crocheted shawls, but sometimes the colors just don't work. And so I've been thinking for a while, I want something that's a bit more plain and neutral of a shawl just to wear with a nice dress. And so I decided I'm going to make the Storm shawl. So it's a crescent shawl, and a knitted crescent shawl. So it'll be my first knitted crescent shawl, although I did make some little mini ones earlier in the year for a little 5 shawls, 5 days knit along, hosted by Frankie from Aroha Knits. There we go, I got there. Aroha Knits, she's great. Anyway, she did you could make tiny little shawls just to test out each different shape. The crescent shawl was one of them. So I bought some more Ren and Ollie yarn to do the Storm shawl, and this is in cookie dough, and isn't it just gorgeous? It'll be a nice plain coloured shawl, and it's got a bit of interest in the stitches, so that's where that comes from. Whereas something like this, you got a bit more colour and the stitch was a bit more plain. So I think that works well, because if your colour is all like lots of colour and lots of stitches, it just kind of, you lose the stitches in all the colour. Yeah, this is cookie dough. So there's kind of a cream with little bits of beige, I guess you'd call it. And so I'll probably be winding this up this afternoon, maybe after lunch or maybe before lunch. I don't know. I have other things I also want to make and I can't decide. So the knit along goes until the end of November. So I've got heaps of time and it'll be great. So isn't it beautiful? And it's, yeah, again, from Ren and Ollie. I am obsessed with Ren and Ollie yarn. So yeah, this is going to be for my Storm shawl, for the Joji Locatelli knit along, the fall knit along. So that's exciting. I think I've got this since I last spoke to you. So I have other thoughts of something I want to make now that I've finished my knitted jumpers and it's the end of winter, beginning of spring. I have a few different ideas for like more of a spring, summer, maybe going into autumn. Well, that's a while off, obviously, 6 months. I could get a few things done by then. Yeah, more of a spring, summer project, and like something I could wear over then rather than long sleeves. And so one of my thoughts is, I think I've shown you this before, using these 3 Ren and Ollie yarns. I might not have shown you. The thing was, at the beginning of August, sorry, I did record a video I just then decided not to upload it because I thought it was too boring. So if I think I might have shown you something before, it might have been in that. So what I want to do is, these are more Ren and Ollie yarns that I ordered because I want to knit one of these, but maybe in this size, or maybe even the next size up, just to get a bit more, but probably this size. Let's just be honest, probably that size. And then I want to do, so this garter stitch bit, like it's meant to start up here, but I didn't read the pattern properly the first time, and then the second time I just decided not to at all. But on my next one, I don't know if this will be my next project, but next time I need to sew faded, I'm going to do short sleeves and this garter stitch thing, obviously from the beginning where you're actually meant to go, and have it in that bigger size so it's a bit more boxy and kind of cropped length. Long crop because I don't want to show any belly, but a bit more cropped length than these ones. So yes, I have these 3 yarns that I got, and this one is called Parfait, and so it's mostly white with flecks of all fun colours and a bit of pink, some fun pink down there. And then there's this one called Smitten Kitten, so it has some gorgeous pinks and purples in it. I think this would actually go really well with the Flora colour in this, yeah. But I only have a little bit of that left. Even the antique rose as well. But I don't have much of those left because for these I used most of the first 2 skeins and then only a little bit of the next 2 skeins. So I've put on Ravelry how much yarn this and this used, and I'm not sure I've got it right because I weighed my yarn when I'd finished. I didn't weigh it at the start. I'm assuming it was 100 grams. And apparently this used 2.75 skeins, which means I could have used only 3 skeins. But of course then you're kind of risking like running out of a particular colour for like to finish the second sleeve or whatever. It just makes it a bit trickier. Anyway, I haven't finished talking about this. All over the place today. And this one is Salt and Pepper, which is gorgeous. I mean, I wouldn't think pink is salt and pepper. I suppose you can get pink rock salt, can't you? Himalayan pink salt. That's a thing. So yeah, this has gorgeous like flecks of brown as well. Lots of pinks. So I'm thinking that would make a really cute little cropped, boxy kind of sew faded. So maybe that. I might start that because that's a nice little spring colour. My other thoughts. Oops. Also in the last 2 months, I received some more yarn from Trichromac Yarns, and I look at these colours. Aren't they beautiful? So I followed Trichromac Yarns on Instagram for quite a while, but it wasn't until we went to Canberra for a celebration of fall, so this is Trichromac Yarns as well, which I bought there, that I was like, oh my goodness, there's like just so much depth to the colours that you don't see on Instagram necessarily. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like all these, it's pink, but there's these gorgeous like kind of orangey bits and like more brighter pink bits, and just beautiful. And yeah, this brown is so, like, I suppose you'd call it a tonal or semi-solid colour. There's just so many different browns in that. And it's almost like, I didn't even know there were so many browns. But yeah, that's beautiful. So, what I bought those for, which I'd seen in Canberra and thought about buying, but then not, is to go with this and to make the Novelli tee, which I'll insert a picture of over here. And I'm very much going with the colours that were used in the original, just because I think they look so good. I was aiming for a colour a little bit lighter than this, but that's okay. I think it'll work out well. So maybe this will be my next, I keep going to say sweater project, but I guess it's a sweater project. We never call them sweaters in Australia. They're jumpers or pullovers, mostly jumpers, maybe sweaters. So maybe want to do that just for something different. It is quite different because I think you start at the bottom and work your way up, whereas the So Faded, you start at the top and work your way down. Although I do like with the So Faded, it has the short rows so that you work it around and then you add the neckline later, which makes it a lot easier than, so one that I knitted last year from the top down, which has short rows, you knitted the neckband and then you had to do like German short rows and pick up, I can't even explain it. It was just more complicated. I really like the short rows in this one. It makes it so much easier. It is a little fiddly to try and pick up the stitches to make the neckband, but you just, if you pick them up wrong, you can just do it again and it's fine. Like, yeah, because this bit is already knitted, so unless you cut the yarn, which you're not going to do, you can't mess that up. And so you just pick up the stitches for the neckband and you can redo it easily. Whereas, yeah, last year I ended up re-knitting the neckband on mine other sweater, the, what is it even called? The Netherton pullover. And, sorry. And, yeah, I had to like cut the yarn and make sure I didn't drop any stitches. And it was just a lot more complicated. So, I have more yarn here, would you believe, of things that I'm planning. I mean, I have heaps more things I'm planning, but there's kind of a queue where some things have priority because summer's coming up and spring, and some things are more winter projects for next year. And so, back in July, I ordered the Circus Tonic Handmade September Fade Club. I think the idea is you're meant to make a shawl. I'm probably not gonna make a shawl, but maybe. And so, this is it. It's gorgeous. I love that, like, so this is the first one. Each one doesn't have an individual name because they are made as a set. So this has definitely got summery vibes. So there's lovely like yellows and blues, and so it kind of reminds me of the beach. Not that I'm super into the beach, but you know. And then this one's a bit more color, a bit less white. And then we have this one, which is getting more flecks of green and more blue. And oh, look at that. I'm just really into like subtle green. Is that, I don't even know if that's how you'd, like that. Oh man. The greens. And so, because this arrived on, was it Thursday? I don't know, I put up a post on Instagram because what had happened was it had said it had shipped and I was like, oh cool, I'll get it when I get it. And then I put, the next day I was sitting on the couch like just after 5 p.m. and I was like, oh, I'll put the tracking number into the Australia Post app and see how it's going. And it was like, oh, it's at your local post office. I'm like, what? Already? And our post office shuts at 5:30. So of course, I was sitting in my pajamas. I got up and got dressed and drove down to the post office and picked up my yarn. And so I'm kind of thinking that this might be a fun project, a fun yarn to do my idea of that cropped So Faded. The thing is, these aren't 100 gram skeins. These are 50 gram skeins. So altogether this is 200 grams. So it would probably be okay because I don't need to save much for the sleeves. I just need to save a bit of the first two if I'm doing the light colors at the top, which I think I will. I think that would look cool. I think it would look unusual the other way around. I don't know, somehow I see the fades and I'm just like, oh, it has to go that way. Don't ask. So I wouldn't have to worry too much about running out of yarn. And because they are a set that is dyed to be faded, I might not do my weird like having an extra end. I might just alternate for a bunch of rows, probably more than 10, because I think that just makes it like this. I alternated from here to here, which I don't know how many rows that is, 20 maybe? But I think it really makes a difference. And I don't mind alternating rows. So I've mentioned this before, if you are alternating skeins in a knitted project, you should use the helical knitting method, which look up Babel's Traveling Yarns, helical knitting, and she has a great tutorial for it. Not so much my version with the extra skein, which is 3 skeins basically, but yeah, have a look at it, and then you don't get a seam of where you're changing colors. It's great, because to be honest, so many photos of, I was looking at, I like to look at other people's projects on Ravelry of things I want to make, because I can see things, especially if they've included detailed notes. I can see things that I think they've done well, or things that they've done less well, things I might want to do, or things I might want to avoid. And a lot of them you can see, because the beginning of round, I think, is about here technically, the way the pattern is written. And so often you can see the seam here of the color changes. And it's just kind of, it's a bit sad. So I really want everyone to do the helical knitting, because it makes your projects look amazing, like so much better, because you can't see that seam where you've changed colors. Yeah. So it's a bit sad when, I don't know, if that's going to spoil the project. But yeah, so, I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. I think that would be fun. I mean, I also think a cute little pink crop top would be super fun. The Novelli kind of screams more of an autumn thing to me, so that might be second or third, so that I can make it for autumn. I do have more projects planned for, like, to have ready for next winter. I do have a little bit of news. Yes, I think I can share this. Next year we're going to be moving a little ways away from where we are, and I'm going to be, so my husband has been studying at Bible college for a little while now, and I have decided that I want to study just for a year, just out of interest. So it's not like leading to any job prospects or anything like that, in case you're wondering, because lots of people ask me. It's just out of interest for my own sake, because I want to learn more about the Bible, and yeah, really get involved in the community that's at college as well. And so next year I'll be studying at college. What this does mean is we're both going to be poor college students, whereas I've been working full-time for a while, which obviously is a great blessing because I can buy lots of yarn. So yeah, at the moment I'm not too worried about adding to my stash, especially if I've got particular projects in mind, because it means that next year I can keep knitting with beautiful yarns and projects that I'm excited about without spending a ton of money on yarn when we don't have much income. We have savings, it'll be fine, like we'll be able to afford food and stuff. It just means I won't be splurging on yarn very much. So if anyone, you know, for whatever reason, Christmas, birthdays, wants to get us presents next year, probably not 99% of you, you know, cash for yarn, always appreciated. Anyway, no pressure. I have hardly even had any coffee today, like, anyway. But yeah, so it's exciting. We will hear later about, you know, when the move is and where and etc, etc. But yes, very exciting. We'll be sad to leave our gorgeous apartment that we've been in since we've been married. So 4.5 years now. Yeah, it'll be sad, but exciting new opportunities, and yeah, just a different stage of life. It should be good. And I'll carry on knitting because I'll have a stash of yarn to continue on with. Maybe a bit of crochet too. We'll see how we go. We don't know how much space we'll have when we move, and so hopefully I'll like definitely bring all my hand dyed yarns with me, and we'll see what else. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know, and what I end up taking. Anyway. Yes. It's a bit scary. Because we've been in this place since we got married, and we both had lived at home and then lived in share houses where we just had like a bedroom worth of stuff. Neither of us had a whole heap of stuff moving in here. We both had, yeah, like a bedroom worth of stuff, And then we got wedding presents, obviously, and then we, you know, have got some furniture secondhand and got some furniture new, and then have accumulated more stuff since then. And so it's gonna be kind of terrifying to pack up all that stuff and move, because we have a lot of stuff. So, yep. Anyway. What else? I think that's all. I didn't write anything down, so I can't be sure. Maybe there was something else that I finished back in July that I didn't talk about at the beginning of August when I didn't upload a video. But anyway, I'll be starting on my storm shawl. And yeah, send me a comment. Do you think the pink Ren and Ollie So Faded, the blue Circus Tonic So Faded, or the Novelli, which I'm kind of thinking is an autumn kind of thing to wear because of the mustard. Obviously you can wear it whenever, that's fine. But I just feel like the pink is super spring, the blue is fairly spring summer. I don't actually wear colours for different seasons, but you know, this makes me want to. Obviously you can wear mustard in spring, it's fine, it's great, but it screams autumn to me. Anyway, enough of my rambling, talking about yarn, and just look at one of my kitties up there. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this incredibly random, incredibly rambly video this month, and hopefully I'll be back next month with something interesting to show you. If not, if there's not much to talk about, I'll be back, what, beginning of November? No way, I'll be back before that. You can probably tell my, yes, actually there is one more thing I wanted to talk about. I've definitely talked before about, so I started medication earlier in the year for some anxiety and depression I was dealing with, and that has been excellent. And yeah, something I've realized recently is just because someone else seems to have things a lot worse, which obviously sucks, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't also seek treatment. Because I've struggled with that a lot. I'm like, oh, mine's not that bad, my depression's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. But being on medication, my anxiety is so much better. It's so good. Anyway, if you're interested in that topic of anxiety and depression and medication and getting treatment, I also recommend you check out Claire over at YouTube, Bob Wilson 123. She's just, well, that's her Instagram name. On YouTube, she's just Bob Wilson 123. She also recently uploaded a little video talking about her own experience with starting medication and mostly anxiety. And yeah, we started medication at a very similar time. We had a little chat about that. And yeah, I would highly recommend. And I think it's great that we can talk about these things and just take away that stigma of, I don't know, if you need medication, just take it. Like, obviously, it's not the first step necessarily. Like, drinking water and sleeping and eating well and exercising, those are super important and can do a whole lot to help your mental and physical health. But also medication is amazing. So, anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well and seeking help if you need it, whether it's for mental health or any knitting or crochet questions you have, or whatever it is. Enjoy September, enjoy spring or fall, wherever you are. Stay crafty. Bye.